Riley Keough, Elvis Presley's granddaughter, discusses Graceland and a promise to her mother. Over 40 years, Graceland's upstairs has been locked. No photos, tours, or exceptions. Riley Keough, Elvis Presley's granddaughter, is finally speaking out. Her revelations shock. Secret rooms, letters, recordings, and emotional truths never spoken. My closeness to her made me involved in much of Graceland. A tunnel under the house? Did Elvis leave unheard music? Why does one room remain as he died? Find out. Graceland goes beyond a mansion. No cameras, tourists, or exceptions. Graceland has closed its second floor for over 40 years. Untouched and sealed like a time capsule. Even die-hard Elvis fans have never seen it. We're finally hearing from someone who's been behind those locked doors. Elvis Presley's granddaughter, Riley Keough, is revealing emotional details about Graceland's upstairs. Elvis hid what up there? Why has this area been closed for so long? Riley discovered what changed everything. We must start at the beginning to understand why these questions matter. Without fame or music, but with a house. Graceland wasn't always famous. A Memphis printing company owner built the modest colonial revival home in 1939, Keough. The house was on a quiet rural plot, silent and surrounded by fields. The 10 rooms were elegant but not extravagant. An elegant front porch, arched windows, and clean white columns. Elvis Presley was 22 and had just reached early superstardom in 1957. He was restless, followed, and needed a place to escape fame. He bought Graceland for $102,500 rather than the usual $12,500 down payment that year. He wasn't impressed by size or grandeur. It was privacy. That wouldn't last. Elvis immediately started making the house more than a retreat. Over 20 years, Graceland became a physical representation of him. Vivacious, unpredictable, and personal. Late 1960s additions were notable. A room that became almost as famous as Elvis. Jungle Room. This unusual living space had green shag carpeting, even on the ceiling, carved wooden furniture, and exotic decor. It resembled a rainforest lounge rather than a southern estate. Elvis recorded his last songs, including Moody Blue, in the room. Like him, it was odd, moody, and private. The meditation garden is behind the house. This peaceful stone-lined area, designed in 1964, would later be Elvis's grave, along with his parents, grandmother, and daughter, Lisa Marie Presley. Fans from around the world silently leave flowers, notes, and personal tokens here. It's one of the few places Elvis fandom becomes quiet and reflective. Since 1982, Graceland has hosted over 20 million visitors. It attracts tourists and pilgrims. Fans from around the world enter to connect with a man who changed music and pop culture. After the White House, Graceland is the second most visited U.S. home. Despite tours of music rooms, awards, jumpsuits, and vintage cars, one part of the estate has never been shown. Since Elvis died in 1977, the upstairs has been locked, preserved, and unopened. This mystery haunts fans and historians. What's upstairs? Why is it guarded? More importantly, what stories are locked in those rooms? Little more than family, staff, and close friends have been allowed past that staircase for years. Not because of something scandalous or disturbing up there, because the Presleys revere that space. Elvis's bedroom, bathroom where he died. This closet holds his jumpsuits. Second floor time has stopped. Riley Keough was raised on Graceland tales. Her relationship to the house is personal and historical as Lisa Marie Presley's daughter and Elvis' granddaughter. This is her first time sharing what those rooms meant to her. More importantly, to him. The upstairs was Elvis's hideout. He read, wrote, grieved, created, and unraveled. In a showy house, this floor is quiet, unseen. Often it's the most important part of the story. Graceland's appeal goes beyond its displays, about hidden things. Riley's upstairs insights are novel. Understand, not just access. She found more than memorabilia in those locked rooms. Just memory. Private, honest. Finally, the world should hear her. Riley Keough discovers secrets and treasures upstairs. Over 4 decades, it was off limits. Tours prohibited. No video, no pics. Even the most devoted fans couldn't enter Graceland's second floor, where Elvis Presley lived and died. Riley Keough, Elvis's granddaughter and estate owner, has spoken unexpectedly. She's revealed shocking information. That upstairs hallway's closed doors hide family secrets. Secret compartments, letters, and rooms frozen in time. Why did Elvis keep this area private? Why is Riley now revealing its secrets? For years, fans believed the second floor was locked to hide the truth. Elvis never died, and the bedroom and bathroom were staged. Some said the Presleys guarded a lookalike's death scene, and Elvis fled to South America. Riley stops it all. She confirms that Elvis's death day upstairs rooms are intact. Too much emotion, not because there's anything to hide. Like he never left, she says. Everything remains. His clothes, records, and bedside books. It smells like cologne. Feel him in the walls. The second floor is locked since Elvis's death on August 16, 1977. Museum curators and tour managers didn't decide. A family order. Elvis's father, Vernon Presley, sealed the upper level as a private sanctuary, not for publicity. Rooms haven't been cleaned or updated. While paramedics arrived, Elvis's bedside clock remained at the same time. Riley grew up visiting Graceland and sneaking upstairs while people walked through the lower halls. She and her cousins were forbidden from touching. However, they quietly watched, absorbing a frozen world. Elvis's small, dark study with deep wood walls and books on numerology, Christian theology, and Eastern mysticism stood out to her. Elvis wrote about fame, spirituality, and loneliness in notebooks. Riley says some entries resemble journal prayers, disorganized song lyrics, stream of consciousness paragraphs, and scribbled quotes are others. She recalls a page with only "free" written over and over. Riley also thinks physical artifacts reveal her grandfather's mind. 2 nightstands flank Elvis's silk-sheeted bed, one with a Bible and handwritten annotations, the other with full pain medication bottles. Riley found a do-not-open shoebox under the bed, unsent letters inside. One was for Lisa Marie. Another reads, "To whoever finds this after I'm gone." Riley says these are too personal to share, but she acknowledges them and says they've changed her view of her grandfather. After Elvis died, the adjacent bathroom is mostly intact. Riley respectfully refuses to discuss the room, but says it's never been changed. Not even towels were replaced. The room is sealed like a mausoleum. The Presley family saw more than tragedy here. Elvis often hid from the world in this private space. Riley reported spending hours reading, meditating, and sometimes just sitting in silence. The bathroom and bedroom were refuges. Riley also mentioned the quiet room, which Graceland never mentioned. Elvis created a quiet meditation space at the end of the upstairs hallway. Elvis would pray, reflect, or escape in this room with low lighting, floor cushions, and an old sound machine hum. No one knew it existed until Riley mentioned it. There are no photos or fan accounts. She thinks it's one of his most honest traits, a man always looking for peace in a world that kept looking at him. Why is she talking about it now? Riley says the upstairs was silent for years out of necessity. That part of the house was protected by her mother, Lisa Marie. It was too painful, sacred, and unresolved. Riley became Graceland's owner and a family legacy voice after Lisa Marie's death. She felt it was time to share the untold parts of the story for understanding, not spectacle. Not to exploit, but connect. Riley insists the upstairs will remain private. These stories and revelations are meant to connect fans to Elvis emotionally, not give them room access. She said some spaces should be private but not secret. Is Elvis alive? The longest-lasting pop culture theory. Maybe Elvis Presley faked his death and escaped through a tunnel under Graceland. Thousands of fans still believe it happened, even though it sounds like a thriller. This theory is based on the unusual details of his final days, his need for extreme privacy, and Graceland's layout, which some say includes a hidden underground passage for him to disappear. Did Elvis Presley escape Graceland via a tunnel? Due to his fame, many thought he did. The tunnel rumor dates back decades. Former Graceland employees and unverified visitor accounts claim a hidden passage leads from the main house to the rear or beyond it. Some believe it runs beneath the meditation garden and leads to an unmarked exit in a wooded area behind the estate. Its purpose? According to different sources, it was either a privacy precaution to avoid paparazzi or an emergency escape route in case Elvis disappeared forever. Some support this theory by citing Elvis's 1970s paranoia. Mics were bug-sweeped, his performances stopped, he avoided public appearances and rarely left Graceland's second floor. It went beyond seclusion. Complete withdrawal. This withdrawal preceded a plan for believers. What about the tunnel? Proof of its existence. The public Graceland blueprints don't mention a tunnel. These documents are intentionally incomplete. We know Graceland's second floor exists, but it's not shown. Former employees have denied the tunnel. Others have said cryptically that employees are not shown certain things. The Presleys have never mentioned a tunnel in interviews, memoirs, or authorized documentaries. Fans still want to prove it. A freelance journalist snuck onto the property in 1987 and found a partially hidden concrete entryway near the rear carport. He never provided proof, and no photos were published. The rumor spread and stuck. The sightings followed. The first major Elvis is alive moment occurred in 1978, 1 year after his death. The name John Burroughs was used to board a plane at Memphis International Airport by a Presley-like man, not a random alias. Elvis often checked into hotels under the alias John Burroughs. Local media dismissed the sighting as coincidence, but it started a trend of similar stories. A Graceland tourist photographed a groundskeeper relaxing behind the house in 1984. That photo went viral as 80s photos could. Fans claimed he was Elvis. He wore sunglasses, had Presley's features, and was heavier, like Elvis would have looked as he aged. The image was magnified and examined. Graceland staff have never identified the man. Numerous sightings followed. Elvis at a Burger King in Texas, Elvis watching an Elvis impersonator in Nevada. In 1994, a man matching his description entered a California DMV, one of the strangest reports. The clerk reported him as polite, quiet, and cash-paying. He said a name wasn't important. If it existed, security footage was never released. Elvis's death certificate adds to the theory. Some fans point out death certificate errors, particularly his middle name spelling. Elvis's legal middle name was Aaron, but his gravestone and paperwork read Aaron. Believers saw no typo. It was meant to indicate that the man buried there wasn't him. But why would Elvis lie about dying? Burnout is the main theory. Elvis was in chronic pain, addicted and tired of fame by the late 1970s. He thought he had to disappear to escape the public eye. Only faking his death could have brought him peace. Supporters say Elvis had the money, connections, and isolated property to pull it off, especially if he had a private tunnel out of his estate. There's no DNA, fingerprints, or verified communications to prove he lived after 1977. His autopsy, family viewing, and public funeral were conducted. The sightings are intriguing, but they are based on blurry photos and unverified accounts. Over time, many supposed witnesses have recanted. The theory persists because Elvis's final days were rarely seen. He hadn't been photographed in months, wasn't touring, and lived almost entirely in Graceland's upstairs, which remains sealed. That silence created a vacuum, which nature hates. People tell stories and guess that the king of rock and roll may have left the stage on his own terms. Riley Keough doesn't need to address all rumors. She realizes Elvis's mystery is part of his power. She's repeated that she protects his values, not explains to him. She believes some things are meant to remain unanswered, whether it's protecting his emotional legacy or Graceland's sealed rooms. There may be no tunnel. It may never have been. Maybe the sightings were misidentifications, and the grave's misspelled name was a well-intentioned correction. Perhaps keeping one part of himself hidden was the most rebellious act for a man who lived in public. Graceland inheritance. If the Presley family tree is incomplete. For years, Elvis Presley was rumored to have fathered children beyond Lisa Marie, hidden or denied identities. Some alleged heirs have presented physical proof. Genetic samples, birth certificates, and side-by-side photos show striking similarities. Others have sued to claim a name and a share of the Presley estate. While most of these claims have been dismissed or ignored, their repeated recurrence adds intrigue to an already complex legacy. Today, who runs Elvis' empire? Can another person legally challenge that control? Not only is the Presley estate valuable, its legal protections make it nearly impossible to challenge. Priscilla Presley is speaking out about her legal battle to remain Lisa Marie Presley's estate trustee. Graceland passed to Lisa Marie Presley, Elvis's only child, in 1977. When she died in 2023, her daughter Riley Keough took ownership. That transition was rough. Priscilla Presley, Lisa Marie's mother, sued over a 2016 trust amendment immediately after. Although the case was settled out of court, it revealed something important about Presley. Not just emotional. The legal dispute is worth hundreds of millions. This is where the secret heir theory takes hold. At least 12 people have claimed to be Elvis Presley's biological children. Some of these claims reached courtrooms, but most appeared in tabloids. One man claimed to be Elvis's son and sought a court order to exhume his body for DNA testing. The request failed. Another alleged daughter submitted a hair sample from an auctioned Elvis lock to prove paternity. The Presley estate dismissed the evidence as unreliable and declined to comment. The Elvis Presley Trust manages finances, property, image licensing, and intellectual property rights for the estate. Any alleged Presley heir must prove their biological link to Elvis through DNA and a chain of custody to gain legal recognition and inheritance rights. That's hard. The DNA used to support these claims is often questionable. Uncontrolled fan memorabilia, personal effects, or third-party samples. Most of these claims fail before a court ruling. Rumors endure. Some fans think Elvis had secret relationships in the 1950s and 60s before and during his marriage to Priscilla. Some names appear in conspiracy forums and tabloid archives, mostly women who claim Elvis sent them private calls, hush money, or letters after his peak fame. The Presley family and close friends have not confirmed such relationships. Riley Keough has never specifically addressed these alleged siblings. Neither did Lisa Marie. They've fueled speculation with silence. Can you avoid giving false claims legal credibility? Or is there a small chance that something is private for personal reasons? That remains unanswered. This is clear. Graceland's new face is Riley Keough. In addition to the land and legacy, she inherited an empire with contracts, property rights, licensing deals, and high public expectations at 34. Her approach is active. She's involved in big and small decisions. She meets archivists, preservationists, and business people. New exhibits get her seal of approval. She's even working on digital preservation projects to scan and store Elvis's handwritten notes, original recordings, and unreleased photos with metadata and archival integrity. Riley now controls the narrative in addition to operations. That's hard. Elvis Presley is more than a musician. He symbolizes. He embodies a particular American culture of contradictions, fame and isolation, rebellion and conservatism, groundbreaking creativity and personal turmoil. Riley is a rare blood relative and cultural gatekeeper. She humanized a global icon. She's walked that tightrope carefully so far. Her public statement calls Graceland a living space, not a museum. The Graceland show was probably some of her happiest memories. "We're not freezing him in time," she said, making sure he understands. She supports new educational partnerships with schools and universities that go beyond tours to scholarship. She wants Elvis studied as a celebrity, fame, race, music innovation, and cultural identity. She's expanding Graceland's digital footprint with curated media, not VR replicas or flashy content. Her team uses high-resolution scanners and AI-based metadata tagging to digitize Elvis' handwritten lyrics, set lists, and letters. These files will be used in exhibitions and academic research. She won't sell his tale. She's organizing. Riley protects confidential story elements in this role. She won't let tourists or cameras on Graceland's second floor. She refuses to film in private family homes and has no interest in monetizing Elvis through reality TV or fiction. Her goal is to honor the legend and the person. That includes honoring his messy, unflattering, or painful past. Riley will likely decide what happens if there is a secret Presley heir.